Good morning. Good morning. Come on in. Hit the like button as you come on in. Let's talk about it. Come on in. Come on in. Hopefully, I'm not shadow banned today. Lord Jesus. I'm just trying to be great. Come on in. How are you? Hit the like button as you come on in. Walk and talk with me, child. Let's talk about it. It's a lot going on. I want to talk about last night, the meeting, I don't know, we're going to call it the speech, the much anticipated speech by our U.S. president. Come on in. Did you guys see the speech? Did you guys watch President Trump last night do his, I don't know, what do you call that? A congressional speech? What you call that? What was that he did last night? What do you call that? What do you call that? It was a lot. It was a lot. I had different thoughts and emotions centered around it. It was a lot. There were some pros and cons I had of last night. And I want to hear what you all thought. What was your thoughts about last night with President Trump speaking to America? Hey DJ, how you doing? DJ, did you see President Trump last night? Do you have any opinions on what you saw? Because it was giving visuals. Folks getting thrown out. Folks in there with their signs. It was just very different last night. Very different. I'm well, thank you. Last night was very different. Did you watch the meeting? Did you watch President Trump last night address America, give his thoughts on? Let me just say, if I were to sum it up, I don't know if I want to say he gave his thoughts on the nation. I don't know what you call that. I don't know what you call last night. DJ said, very different. No, ma'am, I did not. Okay. Last night was very different. But I will say that for me, last night, as someone who is out the box, was like a supporter, like, okay, Trump, we gotta fix this stuff. We gotta make some changes. The direction that we're going right now, under the Biden administration, it just ain't it. I felt like last night was a reminder for someone like me and probably for other people as to why they backed him during the election time. Because I think lately we've gotten removed from a lot of like really important things, because the focus has been just on, well, jobs are important too. I'm going to say that jobs are important too. But I think that with the loss of the jobs, that has just really consumed media. So jobs, immigration, it's consumed. It's kind of like taking over the media. So that's all you think about. You see, if your opinion is kind of largely based on just how you're feeling about how he's handling immigration and how you feel about how he's handling the federal job loss. That's it. That's it. Lately, when I've talked about him, that's basically what it's been about. But last night, he talked about a lot of like the executive orders and things that he signed when he first came into his position. And it's just like, oh yeah, he did sign these executive orders centered around, okay, boys not being allowed to play in girls' sports. Oh yeah, he did sign executive orders with acknowledging what male and female or schools not being able to have a say in a child's transitional journey if that's what they want to have. So there were things that he brought up that it's just like, oh yeah, he did do that. And so for me, that was good because it was a reminder of things that I back, like, wow, like I do believe in that. Like he signed that bill centered around the young girl here locally where I live in Georgia, where she was murdered at on the UGA. She was a UGA student. And while she, I guess, was running or something like that, jogging, an illegal immigrant, hold on, passing a lawn care maintenance truck. So he passed the law centered around people, illegal immigrants who do heinous crimes, the type of punishment and penalty they can get for those things. And it's like, oh yeah, he did do that. So to me, I think that it was almost like a refresher for a lot of people, a lot of Americans, on just him overall, kind of like his resume. And some of those things on it are things that many Americans support, which is why they initially backed him to begin with. So I liked that. That was a plus for me because it was a reminder of like, okay, this is why I was like, okay, I'm gonna rock with you because of those things. So I did like that. I liked how he took, he honored just the, police officers who are firefighters, people, public service officials who've lost their lives, honored them to their families. The young boy who is 13 years old, who had developed cancer some years back and was told that he was only going to live he was going to have a really short lifespan, and he's still here. The young boy was there with his father. He's an aspiring police officer. So they honored, he's already like an honorary police officer with a lot of, I guess, probably police precincts, I guess you can say. But last night, they gave him a badge for like the highest law court, whatever you would call it, dealing with law enforcement. They gave him a badge to be a member of that. So I don't know if that would be CIA. I think it might be CIA. So they gave him a badge for that. And I thought that was cool. It was just a lot. I mean, I would say overall, I felt good with watching it. But what I was looking for him to do that he really didn't was to talk more about the situation, the tariff battle that's going on between the U.S. and Canada and Mexico and China. And he kind of didn't really touch a lot on that, but he did promise a lot of jobs. He did promise a lot of jobs to American people. He talked about Honda having a big plant, I guess so. Honda, I think he said in Indiana, they're creating a plant, an auto plant. So that's going to create a lot of jobs. So it's like, okay. But remember, a few days ago, he did a press about the Taiwan company coming over here creating jobs because they're setting up shop in Arizona. Some type of, that company, I think it would fall underneath tech, but that company manufactures like chips that goes into electronics. And he said that that would create about 20 to 25,000 jobs just initially, and it'll be more to come. So far, that's 2 employment opportunities that I've heard him talk about just within the week. And given the large number of job losses, that's good. But these jobs, I mean, these are going to be labor, like machinery work, factory work type jobs. And these people who lost their jobs for the government, that ain't what the hell they was doing. They weren't factory workers. So I get it. A job is a job. But at the same time, even with these new jobs that are coming about with the car plant with Honda, it's going to still require a certain type of skill set, right? So do you think that somebody who had a job, a desk job working for the government, the IRS, will be able to transition well into working for Honda at the plant? I don't know, y'all, because I never worked for the government and I ain't never worked at a plant. But he's getting excited about these jobs. But I'm still thinking like, okay, people gotta qualify for these jobs. You'll get hurt. So people still gotta qualify for these jobs. So that just means that somebody whose background isn't in manufacture type work, they're gonna have to get their skills up, right? You're gonna have to learn how to do that type of work. And that's the case with, Honda, as well as that the Taiwan company, that guy, y'all might have seen him. Trump held a press conference with him maybe over the weekend. And that guy was standing next to him at the press conference. So the guy got excited, y'all. He was just cheesing. He was so happy. But he was like, yeah, I don't have to pay tariffs. Like, his incentive for coming over here and bringing his business over here was because by doing so, he would not be assessed a 25% tariff. So that was the incentive for him to bring his business over here and set up shop and have this manufacturing company to make the products, which would provide jobs for the American people. It's like, okay, I get it. So Trump is saying, hey, the reason why I'm trying to play hardball like this when it comes to these tariffs is because ultimately my goal is to bring more jobs to America. So by implementing the tariffs, the goal is to have those businesses say, hey, let me go ahead and fall in line, set up shop in the USA, and start just making money and providing jobs for the American people in order to save on this expense, the tariff expense. So here's the thing with the tariffs. The tariff expense up front does not directly impact the business owner. It impacts the consumer. But here's the thing when it comes to impacting the consumer. The consumer still has the option of whether or not they want to do business with that particular company, because they have their factory. So let's just say the distributor. The distributor would be the customer for the manufacturing company. So you have the manufacturing company, they're the ones making it. The distributor we'll call Walmart. We'll call Walmart the distributor. Walmart has to make the decision on whether or not they want to pay an extra 25% on a package for the tariff. So that fee isn't being put on the manufacturer. They're the ones including that on the invoice. So Walmart has to be like, all right, yes, I want all that toilet paper. I want the toilet paper. Manufacturer's like, all right, bet. Toilet paper, $25,000 for this box, but it's also 25% on that. Walmart has to think like, wow, okay, do I really want to buy this toilet paper and pay an extra 25% for it in hopes that when I put it on the shelves, I can make add an additional cost to that product for the people and the people will pay it. So this is what they got to start thinking through. Like, all right, damn, all right, like bet. So you telling me that it's 25,000, but it's 25% on that. So I got to pay you 25% on that. All right, I got it. Now I got to think, how am I going to get my money back? So if I go ahead and pay you the 25%, if I put it on the shelf, will John, Mary, Lisa, and them, will they pay an extra 25%? Because I'm trying to get my money back. Listen, I'm trying to get my damn money back. So they got to think like this. And some of those distributors are thinking like, will say, nah, I'll pass, because I don't want to take that risk of paying you the extra 25%. I then try to sell it. You know, you try to flip it. You try and get your money back, and then you ain't getting your money back because John, Lisa, Mary, like, fuck that, I ain't finna pay you extra 25% when I can go over here and get this brand that is cheaper, because it's coming from a place, you know, where it was manufactured in the US. So it doesn't have those additional fees on it, taxed on it. So people are going to be thinking, so that's how it impacts the manufacturing company, the consumer. We do, if we choose to purchase it with the added expense. So if we say, nah, it's all right, I'm gonna just move around. So we're in a time now that's how people are going to be thinking. They're going to be saying, hey, okay, damn, shit then went up. Am I willing to pay an extra 25% because I really F with this brand? I really like this company. I'm a supporter. Fuck it, I'm going to just pay 25%. So you're going to have some of those. But then you're going to have the ones be like, oh, hell no. I got 3, 4, 5, 6 kids. I can't afford it. Fuck that. If Charmin made over there, goddamn, I gotta go through, I gotta use another brand because I can't afford to pay that additional charge. So that's why it's such a big problem, is because now people have to go and think like, damn, do I really rock with this brand that much to pay that extra money? Do I rock with Ford or whoever, wherever these other companies where they make their cars out of the country? Do I rock with them like that, where I'm willing to pay an extra $13,000 for it? Or I'm like, nah, I think I'm okay. I think I'm gonna try to see what I can make happen with this Chrysler over here, So people are really like thinking like this, and that's why it's it's a problem. Because people are going in thought and they're really being strategic with how they're spending their money, because now they got to factor in the additional cost, because we already have taxes. So y'all, I'm talking about a 25% tariff. That ain't got nothing to do with just already the taxes that we pay on an item anyway. So you have your regular taxes, and then now you have the additional 25%, say if it's coming from Mexico or Canada, China. They're at a total of a 20% tariff because they got added an additional 10%. So I guess they already had 10% on them. So this week, another 10 was thrown on it. So they're at 20%. So this is why it's so important, and why we got to really think about it, because it's going to make a difference and it's going to impact everybody. So peep game. So now, I didn't explain that. So back to the company that manufactures, and they trying to sell it to Walmart, and Walmart trying to figure out if they want to get it. The manufacturers have an issue, and they start to take an L when places like Walmart be like, well, no, yeah, I see what you're saying. I got the money to pay the extra 25%. I'm good for it, but I'm not for certain, and I'm not confident that the people who I sell to, my customers at Walmart, they gonna be willing to pay it. And even though I got it, I don't want to be paying y'all extra 25% and I can't recoup it back. So yeah, holla at me after you and Trump work out whatever, and y'all get rid of the 25% tariff. That is what's going to happen. So that's how the manufacturing companies are going to be impacted. Those companies they say that are in Canada, because people are going to be moving around and choosing to do something different, because it's like, why pay the extra coin when you can go somewhere else and just get it, cheaper? Even if the quality might be a little bit different, some people will be willing to sacrifice for the quality to save a coin. That's the type of times we're in. Some people are now like, yo, I know I'm used to having the best of the best, but times are different. Times are different. I can't afford the best of the best anymore. I can't do it. I ain't got it. I'm on my Tasha K. I ain't got it. So I got to I got to get this little off-brand a try. I know I ain't never bought the damn cereal in the damn bag before, but motherfucker, it looked like it's the same as the cereal in the damn box. How many people now finna be trying the cereal in the bag? How many people are going to be trying the cereal in the bag? Because now with the way they bottom line looking, they ain't got no other choice but to give it a try, because they can't afford to keep up with what they were used to doing. They was used to buying Heinz. It's like, damn, I got to see what this Walmart brand talking about, this Great Value brand talking about now. Like, this is where people are. And this is the way it is. It's the way it is. So it impacts everybody. And you all, where me personally, I'll just give you, as from transparency for me, I've said multiple times, some of y'all may be new to my channel. Welcome. Hey, I'm Chic. Please like, share, and subscribe. So with me, I've been laid off like 2 times. The first time I was laid off was like in early 2000s. The job market was booming. So just as quick as I was without a job, before the first unemployment check kicked in, your girl already had another job. So that was that. From there, I got laid off again in 2011. The market was really bad then, if anybody remember, during that time. So that was post 2008. The market was bad. A lot of people with the middle class people were like really impacted by the market during that time. So I didn't work for a year. I was your girl that was used to dealing with brands. Like, I grew up, listen, I don't know nothing about no damn store brand. What kind of Heinz? I need goddamn Heinz. I don't eat nothing else. I was that girl. What cereal you want? I need my shit in a box. Well, we got this bag. Fuck a bag. I need a box. That is how I was raised. Brands. Well, when I found myself not working, I had to start exploring and get away from that, and I had to start trying other things. I had to start trying other things, trying other brands, because based on my new situation, I had to move differently. So then that's when I started to see that a lot of shit that got a brand name on it, that's all it is. And it's not that much of a difference when it comes to really the quality of it. But they're selling you on the name. But I didn't know that until I found myself in a situation. So once I got myself in that situation to be able to try out condiments of a store brand, I purchased cereal that was in a bag for the kids, because my kids were all small. They were like all under 7 at that time. When I saw that, even when I went back to work a year later, it was like my mindset, I never went back to the way I used to. I still continue to explore those off-brand items, because now I saw that they were fine and they worked for me and it was okay, and I saved money. So that was because my circumstances had me to be moving differently. And sometimes it be that way. So that's what's happening now in a lot of these companies, and it's dealing with this tariff. This is what concerns them, is because these people, they know they have a strong customer base, but guess what? People will learn to do without. People will learn to explore other options if they have to. And if it comes down to money and having to pay more money for something, they're going to try to explore other options, just like I did. They're going to explore other options. And guess what? Once they start exploring other options, they may not circle back around to that more expensive brand, because they see that the cheaper one does its job. It serves its purpose. It meets their needs. They don't need to go back to paying all that money. So this is a scary thing when it comes to a lot of these companies, with people possibly moving around to do something different. So it's levels to this. That's why everybody's impacted. Everybody's impacted. The consumer's impacted. The distributor is impacted, and the manufacturer is impacted. I've already learned, as far as with Canada, Like they sell a lot of American alcohol, things like that. Listen, they like, shit, that's going to be the first thing to go. To stop playing with me. Canadians, I know y'all like y'all American, that liquor that come from America, but it's got to go. It ain't finna be on the shelf here. So this is how they're starting to, retaliate. And it's unfortunate because we're us people at the lower level, we're the ones catching the stray. So the politicians, the rich people, it's the rich that's arguing, but the greatest impact is for the lower level people like me and many of you. So we're impacted by this. You know what they say, certain arguments, it's above my pay grade. Like this shit, they arguing about some stuff that really don't impact their daily life. It impact our lives. So it'd be like, damn, if it's impacting my life, damn, can I have some type of say? Because you want to have a say to some shit that's impacting you, right? Who don't want to have a say to some stuff that's impacting them? But we don't. It's like we're just sitting on the sides watching the rich duke it out on some stuff that won't really impact them. Why? Because they're rich. I'm rich, bitch. They like, this is the energy they got. So yeah, you can just quickly say, okay, get rid of that job, or we'll slap tariffs on them. We don't need that. Okay, what they say, speak for yourself. Speak for yourself. Don't be speaking for me like, I'm gonna need that company over here and their resources or whatever, because I purchased their items for my family, for my children or whatever. So don't be all talking out the side of your neck, because it's impacting me. It's impacting the fellow Americans. So that's where we are right now, to where it's just like we're just hoping that the rich work it out and they work out something that they would never really feel. We'll feel it. We'll feel it, the impact of whatever they're going back and forth about. But they won't feel it. And that's the sad part about it. But it's the truth. It is what it is. It is what it is. So Trump is just like, listen, I said what I said. He said it with his chest, and he's standing on it. Right now, he hasn't made a decision to go back on anything. It's just like, it is what it is. They'll be all right. We'll be all right. They'll be all right. We'll be all right. These are tough times, but I'm going to need for them to comply with what I'm trying to do over here, because I'm trying to build something over here. I'm trying to make America great again. I'm trying to give everybody jobs and all of this. And this is part of the play. This is the play. So people are kind of like, okay, because last night, like, he talked about how under the Biden administration, how bad things was, the economy, this, that, and the third, and how people didn't have jobs. Like, he just talked about how bad it was. But then I couldn't help but to think, as he was speaking that way, with the current state of what's going on with us now, where even more people don't have jobs, and hell, what they didn't have under the Biden administration. So it's just like, okay, sir, I get your vision. I hear what you're saying, but I'm trying to follow it. And I think that's the situation with a lot of people. It's just like, we hear what you're saying. You say you have a plan, but with what we're seeing, it's not making sense to us as to how your plan is going to be executed, with eggs being affordable, people being able to put food on their tables, people having jobs. Because you're talking about everybody going to have a job, this, and that. And it's like, how, Sway? Hell, you just before you got on this damn stage, you just wiped out another 10,000. How? So that's the part that I think people probably was sitting in confusion, wondering how, because the things that he was saying and what we've seen been happening as of late, they're opposite of one another. They're opposite. So it's just like, and I was hopeful, because they were like, oh, last night he was supposed to have this big news, a big announcement to make. So towards the end, maybe like right before 10, 15 minutes before it ended, I'm like, okay, damn, did I miss the big announcement? What's the big announcement? I, so y'all let me know, what was the big announcement? Was the big announcement Honda? Like, what was the big announcement? Because I felt like last night, with everything that's been going on in America, people losing their jobs, it being centered around people being concerned about having enough money for anything. I feel like a big announcement would have been nice, centered around people getting a check. I'm just saying, because we've been hearing talks about these refund checks, upwards of $5,000 or whatever. I think that would have been an amazing announcement, given that, right now, a lot of people are not in a good space with what's going on, with having their jobs removed from them. You got lawsuits going on left and right. I think that would have been like great, because it would have been like, okay, that's nice. That helps. That helps. I just lost my job. My husband just lost my job. People are losing their jobs. Knowing that there is a check coming, that's nice. I appreciate that. But that wasn't said. The message was just more so centered around, like, someone made a comment and I couldn't even argue with it. Afterwards, I don't know who the guy is, black guy, he was in like the studio, basically doing commentary on, Trump's address or whatever. And he said it sounded more of a Trump rally type speech versus like him kind of speaking to like the nation, and I'm like, I can see that. It did give Trump rally vibes. It did do that. But I think a lot of people was looking for him to talk about the situation dealing with the tariffs and things, because it's very concerning. And we have these other nations that are saying, hey, this is what we're now about to do in response to what he's doing. And it's nothing personal, Americans, but we got to do what we got to do. We got to do what we got to do. So I think it would have been nice, and a lot of Americans was looking for him to address that and to put people's mind at ease on him saying, okay, I know this is what you're hearing in the news. This is going on, but we're going to be fine. I got a plan. Y'all just rock with me. I'm going to try to start back up having some conversations to try to get to a better place where we can get some type of agreement. Kind of like what we saw with the whole Zelensky and Trump play in the Oval Office, where we seen them trying to kind of come together and have a conversation to get to some type of common ground. I think that the people last night was probably looking for him to say something along the lines of that. That's kind of what he was ready to do or willing to do, to go back, have some conversations, because he wants to make sure that at the end of the day, the American people are good and we are in the best position possible. But he didn't really talk like that. He kind of painted a picture of like everything is just all good right now. Like, people ain't losing their jobs. Like, he was talking like everybody got a job. And I was just kind of disappointed from that, because I don't feel like the way he was speaking was really, truly the state of America. That's why I said, the state of the nation. You all can let me know. I don't feel like what he was talking about and how, everybody having jobs and everybody having food on tip. Like, I don't feel like that's the situation right now. I don't feel like that's the situation at all. And I feel like every day people are wondering, those who are still working, especially those who may be working for the government, people are wondering every day if today is going to be the day I get my email. Or even if you work for a private company, you're not in the government, you're wondering, okay, will my company be impacted? And then with this whole tariff thing, and people kind of start slowing down on business because they're not getting people to buy their product like they once did because of the cost. Remember the 25% in addition on the price of the product, that could result in job loss, right? If people aren't buying your product like that, guess what? You don't need to manufacture as much. Therefore, distributors, they don't have to buy as much. And then there's less going on the shelves. You see what I'm saying? So when there's less going on the shelves, that can also create like a kind of almost like a supply and demand type issue, because it's just like they're only creating so many of them, and only so many can buy it. So some people will be willing to pay the extra few coins, some not. But the distributor is not going to want to just put a large influx of those items on the shelf, because they know a lot of people aren't going to want to pay that additional amount assessed onto that property, that product. So, child, it's a lot. It's a lot, and I've been doing my best to try to stay on top of things with trying to understand what the hell's going on so I can come out here and talk to you all. I saw before I went live that the Supreme Court ruled against Trump's Trump put a freeze, or wanted to put a freeze on foreign aid. So I guess, remember with the USAID and all the money going out to these different places, the federal government initially ruled and said, no, Trump, you can't do that. Trump then raised it to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court just came back and was like, they're right, you can't do that. You can't put a hold on these funds, whatever. So he just lost. He just lost that. He can't hold on to those monies anymore. So now what remains to be seen is what's going to happen with these monies, the monies that was in the use underneath the U.S. aid, because the Supreme Court has said, hey, no, you can't just let it sit. That money has to go out the door, go wherever it needs to go to. So where is it going to go? I don't know, but they're saying you can't just sit on it like you want to. You can't do that. So he lost. He also lost with, in California, there was some federal workers who filed a federal lawsuit against him for wrongful termination, because the OPM is the one who they said fired them. And the federal judge was like, well, hey, OPM, you don't have the right to fire workers that you didn't hire. So those were wrongful terminations. Those workers technically were hired by the agency. So the agency would have to be the ones to fire you or make that decision to fire you, not the federal government, not the OPM. So I learned today that the Trump administration, or OPM, came out with a statement saying, well, we didn't do the firing. So they backtracking, because remember that judge, so William, y'all can look it up, his name was Judge William Alsup in California. He's the one that presided over it. So he like, no, sir, y'all was wrong. And never in the history of the universe have OPM or anybody who didn't hire somebody be able to like fire them like that. So you're wrong. And Trump and the administration, I'm gonna need for y'all to step to the front of the congregation. So he basically was sitting like, listen, he was summoning setting a court date for them to show up to court to discuss it further. People expected that Trump and his administration would probably want to raise their concerns to the Supreme Court, because remember, the federal courts ruled against him again. So this is the first L he took. So now OPM have come out and was like, well, they released a statement. Well, it wasn't us technically. We didn't fire them or nothing like that. We didn't do it. It was the agency that fired him. But remember, y'all, like, it's a play on words, because the agency fired these people at the directive of the OPM. But so it's almost like the agency was the one that had to, I don't know if the message came from the agency, but basically the agency moved based off of the direction of the OPM. So OPM's like, yeah, I mean, we technically didn't do it, no, but y'all drove it. Y'all were the driving force. So this is what they're coming out saying now. I don't know if that's going to make any changes, make any difference or whatever, dealing with the ruling or whatever, but this is a statement they just made. Even though they made that statement, I would imagine they would probably still have to take it to the courts and present that before a judge and see what a judge says. If the judge feels like, nah, this came from y'all, or if the judge will then say, okay, now I can see that this message, the firings did come from the agency. So that's on that. So over the weekend, that judge ruled in favor of the federal workers. I believe that lawsuit consisted of about 6 federal workers, and it was their union. It was those workers, those probational workers. Their union filed the lawsuit on their behalf. Their union and some other organizations. So I would recommend for those states outside, those people who are in states outside of California, to band together to do something like that. With if you do have a union, the union raising it to a higher court. If you do not have a union, maybe the people can come together, somehow get enough money together, or get some type of lawyer who allow for payment later or whatever, to raise their issue to the courts, to the federal courts. Because from what I've learned, it is against the law for a company to do a mass layoff without providing a minimum of 60 days notice. Did you all know that? The federal government requires for employees to provide a 60 days notice prior to a layoff. A lot of companies do not do that. And I think the reason why they don't do that is because it's not regulated, meaning there isn't anyone who's just monitoring that to make sure that that is happening. The only how it becomes known that that's happening is when somebody is filing a lawsuit. So if no one's filing a lawsuit, then no one's tapping that business owner on the shoulder to say, hey, what you doing? What you're doing is against the law. You can't do that. Nobody's doing that because people aren't raising the issue to the courts. The issue was raised to the courts in California, and that's how they were able to get the ruling that they got. That was in their favor. So just know that there is a law that requires for these companies to provide at least a 60 days notice prior to the layoff. I've talked about it before in other lives, and it's in the media that this month, in the month of March, there are a lot of companies that are doing layoffs, ranging from 1 to 500 people. It's on the internet. You can Google companies that are doing layoffs for the month of March. Look to see if your company is on there, or the company of anybody you know is on there, so you can let them know, listen, peep game, this is what's popping off. It will behoove you to look into this. Did your company notify you? Your company is on this list. There's a lot. It's over 90 companies that are on there. Some of the bigger ones that I can name, Kaiser is on there. Amazon is on there. Walgreens is on there. CVS is on there. Bloomingdale's is on there. Macy's is on there. Let's see, what else? There's a lot of companies, and a lot of these companies I've never even heard of, because remember, these are companies from nationwide. So there's a website that you all can visit called Warn Tracker, WARNTRACKER.com. Go to Warn Tracker, and you can look for the companies. You can do a search by the company name or the month, the year, whatever. You can search and see the companies who have done layoffs in the past and who are presently doing layoffs. So remember, I said it's a law, it's a federal law actually for these companies to report when they're going to do a layoff. So that's why this website exists, because when those companies, I guess, report it to whoever they need to report it to, whatever agency that is, that information is housed on the website I just said, warntracker.com. So this agency, maybe some of you, listen, I just learned this. This website that tracks all these companies and their historical layoffs has been around since like the 80s. I did not know it was a thing. Did y'all know it was a thing that companies had to provide at least a 60 days notice when they were going to do a mass layoff? So the warntracker.com website, the information is on there. So therefore, you know kind of in advance when these layoffs are going to take place. So as I said, there's a lot of layoffs for the month of March. On the website, it will show you the exact date of the layoff for these companies. It'll show you the number range of how many people are expected to be impacted. It will show you the state where these employees, where the impact will take place. And it's showing the exact date. And it talks about of whether or not, it's something temporary as far as these people losing their jobs, or permanent. And hell, child, all of them said permanent. Nothing said temporary. It just said permanent. But it's a running history. So I think it's also a great site to where if you're looking for a new company to work for, and you're curious to know what their layoff history looks like, before you make a decision to kind of move over there, maybe leave your current place of employment and go on over there, you can go to that website and look at that company and see historically how many layoffs they've done, the frequency and all of that, because it's a running history. Like, it's tracking that on that website. Very resourceful, and especially in times like these. And it's been around since like 88, 89. It's been around for a long time. And I just learned about it this week. So check it out, warntracker.com. There are a lot of jobs that are on the chopping block for the month of March alone. Now, y'all, this is just for March. When I told y'all 90 plus jobs, I don't even know what the hell's popping off in April, May, June. This is just March, 90 plus jobs. That is a lot. That's a lot. Literally, like every day, I'm just seeing some headline about some company that's doing a layoff. It's crazy. So as I was listening last night and listening to President Trump talk about, a strong market and people having jobs and this, that, and the third, I just couldn't help but to question the how with the way people are losing their jobs right now. I hear more about job losses versus me hearing about companies that are hiring. Who's advertising that they're hiring? I'm not hearing that. When I'm driving, I'm not seeing that. An influx of signs where people saying they're hiring. I'm just hearing about all these layoffs. So if there's a lot of layoffs taking place, how does that aid in having a strong economy? How does that aid with our food and things going down? He talked last night about the gold card. He's really excited. I said, hell, he better not mess around and say, the exciting message tonight was going to be centered around who bought the first gold card, y'all. But he's really excited about the sale of these gold cards. The gold cards that are being let go for $5 million a pop. He's so excited about that. Because to him, that is the cream of the crop coming over into our country. Because Trump equates money to smarts. So he feels like, okay, the rich people coming over here, they're the smart people, and they're bringing the smart people with them and all this, that, and the third. I happen to not believe that money and someone smarts necessarily go together like that, because you got a lot of piss poor rich people out here. So I don't necessarily equate that just because somebody got $1 billion that they good people. I just don't. I don't feel like somebody who's a billionaire or millionaire is better than, from a moral compass, somebody who's an immigrant from a country where they were poor. And hell, they still coming over here poor. I don't believe that person with money is now a better person. I just don't. But when I hear him speak about, the gold card, and he gets excited about them coming over here, to me, it gives that these people are better because they got money. And that's something that I don't believe in. There are things when it comes to President Trump where I'm here for, but then, y'all, there are those things that I'm not. And I'm not here for somebody who don't have a lot of money being automatically looked down upon because they bank account is just itty bitty. I don't believe in that. I don't subscribe to that. And so he talked about the gold card. The gold card is kind of like the green card, but it's for the rich. It's kind of like that fast track to citizenship. To me, I equate it to like you jump the line. Remember, when you was little, you might want to skip the line. You skip the lunch line, you jump the line. So with the gold card, they don't automatically have citizenship when they come over. But when they come over with the gold card, it really helps. It helps because It's like, okay, it's understood that you, because you have the gold card, you're rich, you have resources, you have jobs. So when someone's looking at that person's application when it comes to citizenship, they're factoring in all of that and saying, okay, wow, this is the elite, this is the cream of the crop. Yeah, we need to have this person over here because they look good, they look good on paper. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and sign off for them to go ahead and get their citizenship. So that's the deal with the gold card. The green card, y'all know, like, it ain't that type of treatment. It's different. It's different. From my understanding, green cards are like on hold right now. Whereas the gold card, he's saying that is about to be implemented very soon, within the coming weeks. Over the weekend, he said 2 weeks. So we're now maybe a week and a half away. So I would say probably by the end of the month, we may be hearing him talk about companies that are coming over here, where the business owner is coming over here under the gold card program. Because I'm pretty sure once he get his first buyer, he is going to announce that, because he feels that that money that's used, remember, it's $5 million a pop. He's applying that money to our debt. So in his mind, it's like, okay, this program is going to be awesome, amazing, because it's going to knock off the chunk, our debt. So everybody who comes over is 5 million if you're rich. So hell, you got 50 people, 50 business owners come. Like, think about you. It adds up. It adds up. But yes, it'll benefit, our nation when it comes to the debt. But just as far as every day, it's not going to have a direct impact to us on that type of level. Because for one, he's also saying these business owners can bring over their own team, meaning their own employees. So it's already known that foreign workers require lower wages than Americans. That's why a lot of people like to hire foreign workers. Hell, that's why a lot of companies don't even like to come over here and run their companies in our country, because they say that it costs more. It's more operational costs for them to operate their businesses in America. Because first of all, like we're gonna require higher wages, a higher salary to do these jobs. Everything's just costs more over here than other places. So that's why a lot of these companies like, I don't want to go over to America. I would rather make it over here, keep my costs down, and sell my goods over there. And he's like, nah, I don't want to do that anymore. I want you all to come over here and set up shop and run your business. So I want you to run your business over here. I want you to hire our workers over here. And I want you to, sell your products over here. He wants it all. And places like Canada or Mexico or China are like, nah, player, like you can't have it all. Now, this is what we can do for you. Like, we can still make it and kind of probably maybe try to give some deals on how much, we sell it for, but we not finna come over there and just set up shop over there in your country. We're not going to do that, and you can't make us. So he's like, okay, bet. All right, then. And that's where the whole tariff thing come into play. That's how he's trying to play par ball with the tariffs. And people are like, well, hell, I got time today too, cuz everybody got this. I got time today, cuz energy. And we Americans or the Canadians, we sitting on the sidelines like, oh my effing God. Lord, save us all. Save us all. Save us all. Because it's almost like a battle of who can let their nuts hang the furthest. That's what it looked like to me in that argument with Zelensky and Trump. It's like everybody exerting their authority. Y'all, how about I found out Trump and Zelensky got the same birthday? They both Gemini's, child. I think June 14th. I said, what the hell? So you had two people with this same energy just going at it. So that's what y'all seen play out. Like basically two people who are cut from the same cloth who are just going at it. And as Trump said, it made for great television because we've been talking about it since. But word on the curb, Zelensky having second thoughts about how things transpired in the Oval Office. And it's alleged that the reason why he's having second thoughts about it is because people from other countries like the UK or whatever that do business with us are like, yo, that's not what you want. You need to fix that. We need America, this, that, and the third. And it's just like, okay. So it's like he's kind of circling back around like, yeah, okay. So yeah, things could have went differently. He didn't outright say he apologized, but he's like, he did acknowledge that just the whole situation wasn't a good look. Now, will that result into some type of peace deal? We'll see. Hopefully it will. Hopefully it will. But Zelensky is now willing to talk. I don't know. I didn't take notice of Trump kind of speaking any on that last night. Because, child, I was starting to... It was like 2 hours from 9 to 11. He started talking maybe about 9:20. So I was kind of tired. So I started zoning out maybe in the last 15 minutes. But he said a lot. He said a lot. In the beginning, I was kind of energized. And it's like, okay, this is the Trump that came in and standing on business and about doing big things, signing these executive orders that many I was here for. This is the Trumpster that I was riding with. So I liked that. But I do wish that he would have addressed the American people about the issue, the things that are going on right now. So yeah, that's my spiel. Yeah, I'm going to start going through the comments. Thank you all for coming in, listening to me talk my talk. But let me see what y'all have to say. LT says, may the month of Ramadan be blessed for all you Muslim and brothers and sisters. So that was LT. Hi, Idalia from Russia. Let me see what else we got. Gary says, more people unemployed. It will be billionaires and the poor. No middle class. It's right in front of you. He sold you lies. When has the rich person ever cared about someone poor? So I've been feeling that for a while, that the removal of the middle class has left. It's either the haves and the have-nots. It's the rich or the poor. I feel like I used to be, when there was a middle class, in that group. Now I feel, to me, I'm more so relate to the poor. You guys ever heard of the term, the working poor? So you do work, but you don't feel like your money goes really far because of just life and the cost of things. So I definitely understand that, Gary, and I'm with you on that. John Rodriguez Jr. says, please don't forget how he's not stealing your money like Democrats do. I do that. I am here for the audits as they're trying to see where our money is going. He started out last night with naming all these different places where the American people money, taxpayer money was going. Very alarming. I had already been hearing things like, what he was saying, but last night with him just reading them all out back to back, it was crazy work. But I'm glad that they did call that out and say it in the presence of the Democratic politicians. I was here for that because it needs to be shared to the world what's really going on. The people need to hear it. I believe that is where the monies were going, to those places. Plus, Trump said that even other places that he didn't even want to get into, the money was going towards. So in some of those places, I've heard already in the media that he did not make reference to. So I was definitely here for that. I was definitely here for that. Terry said, you don't think Russia money won't be here? I don't know really with the whole Russia thing going on. Russia made a comment of saying that now, I guess they made people very kind of alarmed. They felt disturbed when Russia said that their views are in line with Trump views and things like that. That became scary for a lot of people because it was like, oh, hell no, when the fuck we start aligning with them? So when it comes to Russia, I'm just gonna, my hope and my prayer is that Trump is cognizant with how he's moving, even when it comes to them, and that he's not he's not distracted by anything that have us to be in a bad situation. I do find him to be pretty smart. So I'm going to trust that as he's moving, making these moves, as he's sitting in the highest office in the country, that he is going to be surrounded by people and a team that's going to be there to make the best decisions possible for our country, even as it pertains to Russia and whatever they got going on. But I'm gonna have to keep the faith, because Trump ran the country before. That's the thing. This is not his first time at the rodeo. I personally don't believe he was a damn village idiot the first time he ran our country. I don't. I think that he ran it pretty well, personally. So, and he didn't even get my vote then. I wasn't even a Trump supporter during that time. I was still just... I wasn't a supporter of him. So, but I have acknowledged, once he was in office and took notice with how our country was being ran, I developed an opinion of, okay, I see what you did there. I see what you're doing. And I wasn't mad. So that's why, I got a chance to experience him. But prior to him going into that position, it was no bueno. It was a no for me. It was a no for me. But I'm in a different place now, to where I'm no longer in this place of doing what I used to do in the past, which was identity politics. And a lot of people still do that. Identity politics is kind of when your decisions is heavily kind of just based on somebody who you look like, or who you identify as. Like, a lot of black people just naturally rocking with a person just because they're black. And I've done that before. I did that with the Obama administration, and this time around, I did not do that with Kamala. I didn't fall for the okie doke. So this time I was really drilling down on, okay, what are they trying to do? What are they trying to do? So that's where I was with that. And I personally felt like Trump did a good job when he ran our country, however many years, 4 years ago. I thought he did a good job. I didn't have any complaints with how he ran our country. DJ says, Sheik, do you think China is going to sell TikTok? I don't know, because from my understanding, so we're operating on an extension, right? That was supposed to go for 90 days. TikTok is very new, unexplored territory for me. I've recently started being active on there, with posting some little videos and things, clips from my long form content on YouTube. So I don't have a lot of opinion when it comes to TikTok, because that's not my playground. YouTube's my playground. But I do feel like that if TikTok is going to continue to be a moneymaker for many people in America, and many companies and benefits and things like that are going to benefit from it, I feel like there's going to be a way found for it to be able to stick around. Even if somebody here, I've heard talks about Elon Musk buying it, if somebody here bought it, but I feel like somehow there's going to be a way for it to kind of stick around a bit longer. Because think about it, if TikTok goes away, we're back to impacting more jobs. There are so many people whose job is a content creator. That's for a long time. You ask these people what they aspire to be, they're saying content creators. I started hearing that a couple of years, about 2-3 years ago, that the number one aspiring job was content creation. People want to be content creators. A lot of people who've recently lost their jobs, they're saying, you know what, F it, I'm just going to be a content creator. So that is a stream of income. That's jobs for people. So if you get rid of TikTok, think about all the jobs that you're about to get rid of right there. Our nation, I don't feel like we can afford that hit with the federal job losses, and then you add TikTok on that. I don't think that we can handle that. Not right now. Not right now. Maybe down the line, but right now in current times, I don't feel like we can handle that type of hit to our economy. Michael says, I was leaving, but he has only been back a short period of time. He's doing more already. Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's doing more right now than he's done, than what's been done in the previous administration. We've gotten, what he said, in 45 days. We've done more in 45 days than we have just in the previous administration. Hold on, let me try to put my charger on. I don't want my phone to die. He's come in. It hasn't even been 100 days yet, and he's gotten a lot done. And I think a lot of people can agree that he's come in and he's done a lot of changes. Now, people may not necessarily all be here for everything that he's done, but people can acknowledge that, okay, he has come in doing a lot. He's come in doing a lot. And the one thing that I have heard a lot of people, even on the opposing sides, I've heard a Democrat, I think I heard Jasmine Crockett say it first. She's a representative for Texas, politician, black woman. And she said one thing about him, he does what he says he's going to do. That is what she said. And he does. And, and I've heard so many people say, as things been unfolding with what's been happening with the things he's been doing, people have been saying, well, he said he was going to do it. He said that's what he was going to do. And some of the stuff, y'all, that I'm not even going to play, like, that he's been doing, I don't even recall him even saying that he's going to do it. But I'll hear people like Democrats to be like, yeah, he said he was going to do that. And it's just like, I mean, it was just so much going on. I'm sure I just can't remember everything that he talked about or ran on. I just, there was just things. I know immigration was a standout for me. And it was a standout for me because for a long time, I felt like it's just been out of control with our country. And it's something that we needed to kind of deal with. So that stood out for me. So it had my attention. And I think it had a lot of people's attention, to where these other things that we're seeing play out, there are other people like me that were like, wow, I didn't know he was going to be doing all of that. And it's just like, well, yeah, he said that too. It's just like, oh, okay, I guess I missed that damn part. Jeffrey said, did you see today we stopped sharing intel with Ukraine? I did not see that. But I do feel like it's time for us to bow out when it comes to this war stuff between Ukraine and Russia. So if that is the case, I think that's a good thing. I just think that, like, it's time. It's time for us to say, okay, we've been a support long enough. If you want to carry on, you can do all that. But I don't feel like expectation is for us to continue to ride it out with them as long as they're wanting to continue to fight and be in a war. I just don't feel it. It's not our fight. I guess we've been there as a support. Say thank you and then, move on. Because just think about just anybody you support. The expectation shouldn't be, and it's not fair for someone to think that you got to ride with them the whole way through. You be like, listen, I showed up. I came out there and supported you. I can't be at every game. I can't give you all the money, but I can, do a donation. I can come out and, every now and then and physically show up. But I don't think it's fair for America to be expected to ride out this entire war in support of Ukraine through financial resources. That's my opinion on that. Michael said, Trump wants to make an impact, start charging Congress for medical and dental care they receive. You said they getting free dental care, they got free benefits. Well, that's a damn start if they getting free benefits, because I've never known for just any other type of government employee to have free medical benefits. So if that is the case, I'm with you on that one, Michael. He says working in Congress as a job is no different than the working class. The job is a job. I think, there's a lot of people are losing jobs, whether they work for government or not. A job is a job. Congress, yeah, they making more money than us. So yeah, if we're paying benefits somewhere for medical, dental, vision, whatever, I think it's only fair that they do the same. So listen, I'm an equal opportunist. Everybody can get it. Denise says, listen, I don't trust Trump. And here's the thing, you all, as people talk about not trusting Trump, I'm not going to even argue and hold you to that and try to even convince anybody to trust Trump. I'm not going to do that. You know what? I'm not even doing that when it comes to any politician, because even at the time when these politicians were running for office, including Trump, I'm just so used to a lot of times people saying whatever just to get the job, like just to get in there. And then you sit back and you look to see if they're going to stand on business and do everything that they said they was going to do when they ran. And more often than not, that shit don't happen. And you'll end up hearing them talk about some reason or some roadblock that they came encounter with that prevented them from doing what they told you that they're going to do. So if you like, my thing is seeing is believing. I'm in the season of, okay, well, just show me. Trump, you said, our government, our climate, our economy is going to be better under your administration than before. Okay, it's not a matter of if I believe you, if I don't. I'm just at a point of like seeing is believing. Show me, let me see, because as of right now, the things that are going on, it's counterproductive. It's going against that idea of everybody having jobs and food prices being low, gas prices being low. It's going the opposite. So to me, what I'm seeing transpire, and then when I bump that up to what he's saying, they not coming together, y'all. It's not lining up for me. It's not lining up. And I don't understand why, as far as with him and what he's saying and how he says things are going to be. I don't understand. I'm not following his plan. And I'm not saying he don't have a plan, but I'm just wondering, has he just not released that plan on how he's going to go about having everybody working and being able to put food on the tables and things like that? Is his plan that is going to happen through people and people working at that chip company in Arizona? Like, is this where he's saying where the hell the job's going to be at? These two employers? Is this supposed to employ the people who are losing their jobs? Is that what he's saying? That's the thing. I don't know. He hasn't specified that. He's just saying these things that are warm and fuzzy, but he hasn't come through with talking about a plan as to how he's going to have that to become a thing. So since he's not putting a plan out there, people are like, okay, well, there is no plan. So that means this shit probably ain't going to happen because you ain't told us or convinced us as to how things are going to be better, because all we've seen you do is do things in the reverse to show us now today where how things don't look as good. Now, I will say when he did come into the office and signing all these executive orders and things like that, that was a good look. That was a step in the right direction. That was a good look. That was a good look, as far as for our nation, with just the beliefs, laws, regulations, things like that. But those things have no bearing on just what's taking place in our households when it comes to just income and financial resources and things like that. That doesn't have any bearing on that. So what I'd like to see him do more of is talk about the plan as to how each household is going to be able to be impacted. Not, okay, the overall, what do you call that? What's going on? The debt. Like he'll talk about with the $5 million gold card, that's going to knock off the debt. Okay, that's nice. But that debt that we have, that's not impacting our households. Like, really think about this debt. That don't have any bearing really per se on our households. I want to hear more talk about that. About how what he's doing is impacting the household. Michael said tariffs will hurt us until business move back to America, which will take years. Do y'all think that he's going to just be able to get these by, I don't know if you want to call it bully tactics. I don't know, child, what you want to call it. But do you all think that him using the tariffs over these countries' head, that's going to get them to comply and be like, okay, Trump, we're going to do what it is you want? Do you think it'll work out that way, or do you think they'll just buck the system like what Canada's doing right now? Listen, Mexico was quiet. So when over the weekend when Trump was saying, yeah, come Tuesday or whatever, when I hit him with the 25% tariff, Canada started talking about, look, how they was going to come. Mexico was quiet. What, they got a woman. They got that woman leader over there. She was quiet. But once he came out and slapped that 25% tariff on, what I've heard is that Mexico, like they in the lab, they're planning, I guess, over the weekend to release how they are going to retaliate. And word on the curb is that it's going to be more than the 25% tariff that our government is saying that we're going to assess on them. So it's just like battle of the tariffs. What are we going to do? Like, it's crazy work. And like I said, the people who are impacted the most is like us regular everyday people, because now we got to decide on damn who we gonna do business with versus not, based off of our pockets and our budgets, because we may not be able to afford to support a lot of these businesses that we really rocked strongly with coming out of Mexico, Canada, China. We just not gonna, it ain't gonna be in the budget. It's just not gonna be in the budget, even if we wanted to. And as it ain't nothing personal, it's just not in the budget. Just like the Canadian premier said, like, this shit, it's not personal. This is all business, and you all, it's business for me and you as well. Us being able to, us saying, hey, we're going to support or ride for a company and buy their resources or not, that's business. Your money is your business. It's nothing personal. It's nothing personal. It's saying, listen, I support, I ride. You got a good brand, a good company, but I can't afford you. I can't afford you. It's business. It's nothing personal. I'm not going to get online and write bad reviews on you and badmouth your brand and say it sucks, it's trash, and do that. I just can't afford to do business with you right now. I can't do it right now. And the best case scenario is going to be people being able to one day circle back around and do businesses with these people when time change. Because some people may leave and just stay gone. They find other ways. You get used to other things. You find other resources, and you just don't look back. It be like that. Michael said, I understand, but it will work if we can hold on for 4 years of struggle. Michael, I hear what you come from, because I call it the growing pains. I've talked about it on my channel, to where I think that anything, like at the beginning, you're going to experience those rough times, those tough times, and you're going to, that bad going to happen before the good. And I feel like even with everything that's happening right now, it's going to take a good 2 years for us to really see and feel the full effect of it, whether that be positive or negative. It's going to take a good 2 years, because right now we're in a season of a lot of change and transition. So overnight, you're not going to really feel the impact of it as a whole. Like, your household will feel the impact of something, maybe of something changing overnight. But as far as like a nation, it's going to take time for us to really feel the impact of whatever it is that, say, President Trump's vision is when it comes to this country, when it comes to what he wants the government to look like. The jobs that people have, the type of work that people have, how AI is utilizing these jobs today, whether they're taking over jobs or they're helping to assist you in your job. I feel like it's going to be like a good 2 years for us to really see it, and not even the full 4 years. I think 2 years for us to see it. I think the full 4 years will be for our overall economy to really have that full impact, to say, you know what, that really impacted our economy, because we'd have 4 years of time to assess it, and to experience the change. Because from my understanding, with these government job losses and all of that, this is all supposed to take place through the month of September. So I think it's like he's trying to not take care of, like, deal with all of this now in 2025. What's the plan for 26 and beyond? I don't know. But I've heard that September is like when he's trying to have, all this completed. And I think it was maybe about 10%. I think it was about 10% of the jobs. I don't know if he's trying to impact 10% of the job. I know he wants the government to be very small. So I like to call what we're going through right now growing pains, because I'm like a glass half full versus half empty kind of person. I feel like in 2 to 4 years, in overall, it's going to be a positive impact for our country. Right now, it's hard. It's hard. It is hard. But by the time the first 4 years are up, I feel like we're definitely going to be in a different place. We'll be able to reflect back on them first 2 years on how he was kicking and screaming and cussing. But I feel like 4 years from now, the vast majority of people are going to be in a better position than they were before. and the job loss catapulted them into something different, something better. So that's how I feel overall. These things are going to pan out for most Americans, for most of them. Bum says, what did he accomplish? I don't know if if you're talking about Trump. I feel like when he was in office those first 4 years, people had jobs. People was making money. You wasn't hearing a lot of talk about people talking about struggle, financial struggle, in a way that you heard them talking about during the Biden administration. It seemed like during that 4-year Biden administration, it was